And then video. Okay, there we go.
Okay. It is 6:34 p.m. on Thursday, May 14th. Notice is hereby given that the regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks, Texas, being held today, Thursday, March 14th, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. at Sandy Oaks City Hall, located at 4451 Hickory Haven, Sandy Oaks, Texas, 78112, which is being live streamed and accessible to the public via Zoom for the purpose of considering the following agenda items. All agenda items are subject to action. In an effort to advance the public health goal of limiting face-to-face meetings, also called social distancing, to slow the spread of the coronavirus, COVID-19, there will be no in-person public access to the meeting. Ms. Yelton, can we get a quorum call, please?
Here. Alderman Killinger.
Here.
Alderman Walker. Here. Alderman Yeltsin.
Here.
And I think Ms. Ortiz is dialed in on Zoom.
Yes, I'm present.
Thank you. And Mr. Fox is here present as well. We have a quorum, Mr. Gilton?
We do.
Okay. Item 2 on the agenda is citizens to be heard. Did we have anybody sign up for that? Okay, well then let me read the agenda item. Item 2, citizens to be heard. Persons wishing to speak may sign up with the city clerk at least 2 hours in advance of the meeting by emailing cityclerk@cityofsandyoaks.com or calling 210-607-0834. Please note that the Texas Open Meetings Act prohibits the City Council from responding, commenting, or discussing items or topics during this portion of the meeting that are not included on the agenda. The City Council appreciates hearing from the citizens, and your thoughts and questions are valued. However, civility and a sense of a decorum will be strictly followed. All speakers must address their comments to the City Council. Speakers shall refrain from public criticism of members of the City Council that are prohibited by law. This item will be open for up to 30 minutes with 3 minutes to each speaker. One person may speak on behalf of the group. Up to 3 persons may register on behalf of the group in order for the spokesperson to be allotted up to 9 minutes to speak. If there are more than 10 speakers, each will be given 2 minutes or 6 minutes for a group spokesperson. Ms. Shelton, you said we did have somebody?
Yes.
Rebecca Clay Flores. Chris, are you unmuting her so she may speak?
She's unmuted. Rebecca?
Hi, you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say just thank you so much for everyone who went out to vote on Super Tuesday. I really appreciate your support. Wanted to let you know, if you haven't heard, I am in the runoff, which I'm really excited about. It is the first time that the incumbent has been in a runoff in 16 years he's been in office. It was the first time we have forced him into the runoff. So I'm really excited. And if you guys have been looking at the news, KSAT 12 has done several stories on the corruption of the incumbent. And so I encourage you, if you haven't seen that, to just Google it or go onto Facebook. And there's different things there that finally some things are coming to light. So I think that's just a really good thing. And as you guys know, I've been trying to come as much as possible to the city council meetings. I just think that elected officials should be accessible to the community and should represent the community. And I think we see that more clearly even now in the midst of COVID, and seeing how elected officials from the federal to the state to the local level really affect us. We didn't need COVID to show us that there are economic and health disparities in the southern sector of Bexar County. So I'm just really looking forward to hopefully getting elected and representing you guys. So just an update, the runoff has been moved from May to July 14th. Early voting has been extended. It's going to start June 29th, so at the end of next month. And of course, if you voted in the primary, then you can vote again in the runoff. If you did not vote on Super Tuesday, you can vote in the runoff. even if you, Texas is not a registered party state. So whether you consider yourself Republican or Democrat, I am on the Democratic ticket. So even if you consider yourself Republican, perhaps you did not vote on Super Tuesday, you still can vote in the runoff on the Democratic ticket if you so choose. So that's about it. And if anyone has questions, you can always email me or send me a message on Facebook. So thanks for your time.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move item number 7A. We'll move to that one first. Presentation of monthly report by Marshall Lopez with possible discussion and/or action. And Mr. Lopez, you're up.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. It's good to see everybody again. It's been a while. So our monthly reports, there's been some time that we had for what the Marshal's office, what we do for the community. So I'm going to give you a little bit broader perspective of that. For the February 2020 report, we had 93 defendants, 132 cases. Traffic stops, we had 116, 88 citations were given for that month, 28 warnings. There were 5 arrests that the Marshal's office did do. Calls for service, of course, goes from thefts. We had 2, suspicious person, 1, vehicle fires, 1, COV, junk vehicles, 6, COVs, trash and garbage was 1, abandoned vehicle, 1, and commercial vehicles, 1. Those are a list of calls for service that we take within the community. That was for February. That is correct. So moving on to March, our court date was for 84 defendants, 130 cases. For the month of for that month, we did 149 traffic stops, 92 citations were given, 56 warnings were given that month as well. Arrest total was 4. Assaults that we had was 2. Civil matters 4. We had 3 disturbances. 1 911 hang up, 1 emergency detention, 1 information report, 1 EMS assist, and 2 welfare concerns. 6 COVs violations, and also a burglary coin was 1, and unauthorized motor vehicle was also 1. And then
Before you move on, what is burglary coin?
Basically, they broke into a coin operated machine.
Got it. Thank you.
And so as we continue to move forward with different calls in nature of crimes and things like that, we'll have more of a listings that are not on this report as well. So for the month of April, the report was scheduled, was 107 defendants, 181 cases. Traffic stops, we did 220 traffic stops, 127 citations, 93 warnings. During that month, also 5 arrests, 2 damage property reports, 4 civil matter reports, 2 disturbances, 2 welfare concerns, 1 burglary of a vehicle, 1 burglary of habitation, and 1 suspicious vehicle. As we continue to move forward on within the year, I'll be presenting these monthly statistics or information. Bear in mind that when we're not on duty, myself or Deputy Castillo, Bexar County takes over, and that doesn't include what they do when we're not around. So that gives you a better explanation of the City Council and the community of what we're doing. We take calls for service from EMS calls, disturbances, whatever. Bear in mind that when you call, telling the communities, when you call, we get dispatch out of Bexar County. If we're on duty, we'll respond. If we're not on duty, Bexar County will respond.
And that determination is based on the dispatch at Bexar County. They know when you guys are.
Yes. When we log on, they'll see us, and as we receive the call, we'll respond first. We get the calls first while we're on duty.
Perfect.
Yes, sir.
Do you get any information from Bexar County as far as the number of responses they make out here?
I could, I'd have to get with dispatch or the kind of call, how many calls when we're not on duty.
So it's something you could
Yes.
probably do on a daily basis when you come in, or a deputy, find out what happened from the time you left to the time you came on or at the time that the deputy left to the time he comes on. Just might be just informational for the council
Yes.
as well as citizens to see what type of things are happening out here and maybe make them more conscious about their behavior.
Well, I mean, we're here to serve the community. And so, like I said, we get dispatched with county, when they receive a call, we respond to that call.
Okay.
So a lot of citizens are unaware of that. And so county, we get dispatched first. So
Okay.
whatever hours that I work and I'm on patrol, I get that call, whatever it may be.
Right. So before you do that, do check with Bear County and see if there's a report. Maybe they do weekly reports or something that they can provide to you, or at least a monthly report. But I think it would be beneficial, as Alderman Trimley mentioned, for the citizens to see just the volume of calls, number one. But I think to help for planning for your department, I know you and I have had some discussions kind of on the future staffing requirements,
Yes.
and that would help, I think, make that decision as well.
Yes, Marshall, when you say COV junk vehicle, that refers to a city ordinance violation?
That is correct, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and COV trash is a city ordinance violation?
Yes, sir.
Merely because, social media has it that none of our city ordinances are being enforced. I'd like the public to know that in fact they are being enforced.
Well, with everything going on with COVID-19, we kind of eased back on that. And now that the city everything's reopening up, we're moving forward to get back on track on that. Like I said, I know everybody had lost their jobs or whatever the case may be. And like I said, we're willing to work with the community on various, first and foremost, we don't give citations at the beginning. We want them to give them an opportunity to correct the violation, whatever that may be. And after that, given so many days or whatever, if it hasn't been corrected or not in compliance, then we come back and follow up on that city ordinance violation and move forward with the citation.
Thank you, Marshall.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for the Marshal? Thank you, Marshal Lopez. And I think you and Deputy Castillo are doing a great job. And I know you need to leave because you have to go home on your free time and do all your reports. Thank you. Okay, let's move back to item 3A, mayoral announcements and updates. Item A, COVID-19 updates. I have a few items on here. Testing, we were supposed to have testing set up here in the park tomorrow. Bexar County Office of Emergency Management was coordinating that. And they came out and assessed the area and decided that that canopy thing we bought for the park would work perfect as a drive-through. However, I did hear from Kyle Coleman, and we're under a weather advisory, so they have decided not to do that. But we have until the 24th, so we'll schedule another date for that. Because testing supplies are now more widely available than they had been in the past, they're now opening it up for people who want to be tested. It will be by registration. And we'll coordinate a date here in the coming days for when that's going to happen. It'll be staffed by the National Guard and Bexar County Office of Emergency Management. So nothing that the city needs to do other than we would just let people know, probably share the announcement from BCOM on that.
That's going to be the antigen testing, or will they do the antibody testing?
Not antibodies, strictly antigen, yes. Okay, the next item on there is opening City Hall and Municipal Court. For right now, we are still following the social distancing as best we can. Things are improving. The last count that I saw in our zip code, and remember, our zip code includes Sandy Oaks, it includes Elmendorf, it also includes unincorporated Bexar County. We have made the jump from the 1 to 5 case category, which we have been in from very beginning. Last week we jumped into the 6 to 10 case, and I think we have 6 cases, but I haven't checked yesterday's results. That is yes, okay. And of those 6, I know 2 in our city, and one of those has recovered. So within our city, we're doing very well. I'm also monitoring the zip code across the freeway because there's a very tight familial connection with our city. They had no cases for the longest time, and the last numbers I saw on them, there were 10. So that's a big area. It goes all the way to 281 up to 1604 down to Hardy Road. It's a fairly good sized area. So overall, I think the measures that have been put in place are working. We're not out of the woods yet, but along those lines, the plan is to continue to follow county recommendations, which basically are coming from the governor as well. And those are based on medical experts who are monitoring this. They know more about all this than we do. But the plan at this point is to open City Hall on June 1st, unless there's some change, some recommendation that comes down that says otherwise. I did see, Catherine, I did see that Kathy sent out a message. I haven't had a chance to read it yet about the court updates, the one that she sends out to kind of what the court recommendations are. And I think that they are still on track for June 1st as well. So within City Hall, we have plexiglass partitions up in front of the desks so that, you know, people coming to visit the court for the judge, the prosecutor, the court clerk, the city clerk, they can sit on the other side. There's a level of protection there. We're going to require masks. I did learn today that there are some PPE supplies that will be coming our way, and in there is a touchless thermometer. So we will be able to check temperatures before anybody enters the door as well. Hope to have that in the next couple of days, probably by Monday maybe. And so as of today, and know that this can change, June 1st is our target date for reopening City Hall and also the municipal court. We will have to limit the amount of people that will be allowed in here. It's not going to be open. You know, we still have to practice social distancing. So meetings, we'll do our meetings best we can. There's nothing that says at this point that we can't continue doing our meetings this way. I mean, this is our first time getting back together, so we may continue in this way through June and see how things work. I just don't know how we can get that many more people in here and still be safe. Okay, opening parks and recreation. The park itself is open. The pavilion has been being reserved for some Zumba and exercise classes, which is great. They all committed that they would, you know, adhere to the social distancing guidelines. I'm a little concerned with some of the photos I've seen. While they're exercising, they're social distancing, but they like to come together for a group photo, and that's not the way that's supposed to work. I've had individuals ask me about the basketball hoops. Chris, I'm going to ask on tomorrow, would you put the hoops back up tomorrow afternoon? Because the 15th was the date that is in the county. That was the date that they're doing a phase type approach, and May 15th was the date that they had put in there. So we're getting people asking about that, and you know, people have been cooped up for a very long time. It's a good idea to get out and exercise. Market days in the city park. I'm going to propose that we open that up for the first weekend in June. Let's try it and see how it works. I have a produce company that I'm working with to hopefully they want to come in and set up. That was supposed to happen tomorrow, but to my knowledge, it's not happening. We're hoping to get at least once a month. They would come in and set up in the park, and people can come down and buy fresh produce. And so we're working on coordinating that as well. I think if we can do it in conjunction with our market days, that would even be better. But again, social distancing is going to have to be adhered to during those. That's all on the COVID-19. The next item has to do with street signs. And hopefully you have noticed that, oh, Chris, I'm so sorry. I think I left him at the house. The street signs, yes. Oh, thank you. So our public works gentlemen have been very busy in the last, take you about a week to do all that? No? 3 days. Okay, very good. No, not this one, street signs, but that's okay. There had been a list of missing street signs, missing stop signs, missing poles. Some of that had been collected because it had been knocked down and it was in the yard. So all of those signs have now been erected, replaced. And, it's going to be an ongoing, it's not that one. No, it's a different one. Don't worry about it. Yeah. Just don't trip over that.
I saw them.
You saw some of them?
Yeah, they were doing good.
Yeah. Lollygagging around out there, not doing anything.
They were out there.
No, they did a very good job in putting those up. I've gotten some good comments on that too, by the way, so thank you. But again, that will be an ongoing project, We'll keep track of what needs to be replaced when it's damaged or lost or whatever going forward. Okay, item 4, financial and budget report. The income and expenses will be reported by City Secretary Catherine Yelton with possible discussion and or action.
So we began April, I've got horrible static. We began April with a balance of $395,499.86. Checks and payments of $98,322.43. Deposits and credits of $18,155.91. And ended April with a balance of $315,333.34.
So in looking at, I had Ms. Shelton print this out for me as of this very moment. One of the concerns that we had with COVID-19 was around property taxes, how that would impact. We're actually doing fairly well here, so I think we will be okay on this particular one. Are there any questions or comments on the financial report? Would someone like to make a motion?
I move that we accept the financial report.
Second.
Alderman Rapino made a motion to accept the financial report as presented. Alderman Fillinger second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Item 5. Item 5 is consent agenda. All matters listed under consent agenda are considered routine by the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks and will be enacted by one motion. There will not be separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed and the consent agenda from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. We have 2 items on here, which the first one is to approve the minutes from the March 12th regular City Council meeting. And the second item is to approve the minutes from the April 23rd regular City Council meeting.
I move that we accept the consent agenda for the minutes from March 12th and April 23rd.
Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Rapino to accept the consent agenda as presented. Is there a second? Alderman Walker seconds. All in favor say aye. Opposed? The motion carries. We have, let's go ahead and move to 6A. Executive session to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of the city administrator pursuant to Texas Open Meetings Act, Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, Section 551.074, Personnel Matters. So it is 6:59, and we are going to adjourn to executive session, and we will return shortly.
Okay, I think,
Okay, I'm back recording.
Cassandra, could you unmute yourself and let me know if you can hear us?
Yes, I can hear y'all.
Okay, and you can see everything as well?
Yes, I see everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, it is 7:49. We are going to call the meeting back to order. We are now on item 6B. Discuss and or possible action on the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of the city administrator. So I would entertain a motion from anyone on the council.
Yes, I'd like to move that we vacate the office of city administrator for the present and leave it vacant until we require another administrative services.
Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Fillinger to vacate the office of the city administrator and allow it to remain vacant until a future time.
Correct.
And we have a second by Alderman Rapino. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. And Cassandra, I do have a question for you. Do we need another motion on effective date of this, or is the action enough?
I think the action is enough to, unless there is a future effective date, it would be effective at the time the motion is made.
Okay. So we'll accept it as the date that it was voted on then. Okay, I would like to thank Lou for his time and his efforts and his knowledge and expertise, and who knows?
Well, and I would like to thank you too for the opportunity to work with the city, and I've learned a lot. And one of the things that I should probably stress from my experience here has been that you all work very closely together. There's not a lot of conflict on the council, and I think too that there are some revenue issues ahead, and you're going to have to deal with them. And one of the things that I'm really that I was really going to focus on was that downtown center and trying to get a commercial development increased. And so that's going to take some time. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item 6C, discuss and or possible action on electric and water for the animal control and municipal building. On the call should be Jared Mott from M&S Engineering. Are you there,
Yes,
Jared?
I am. Thank you very much.
Hello. Okay, so what we're doing here is we had asked M&S Engineering to create a design for bringing water and electric to the property that is we call it the former Saws property. You may hear it referred to that way. You may hear it referred to as FSP. You may have it referred to as municipal complex, but it's the property up on Priest Road, just north of Waterwood Pass. And we have the animal control facility that we had purchased, and the septic tank is in. And in order to finalize that and bring it online, a number of things needed to happen. One of those is bringing in water and electricity to that facility. So M&S Engineering worked up the design and worked with SAWS and CPS, because those are the two entities, to make sure that the design was adequate, and then prepared the bid, published the bid. We had a sealed bid opening here in this building March? No, it was before that. Was it March? Yeah. And no, this particular one we did here, but it was March, yeah. No, April 6th, I think, because there was only Jared. Only one person was allowed in the building. So the bottom line is, this particular piece of property previously had been used as a pump station, and I'll use it as loosely as I can, years ago by Bear Met. When Bear Met was absorbed by SAWS never utilized that facility any longer. So it was decommissioned. And then, what's happened is there is no water or electric on that property. What we bought was basically a raw piece of land with a fence and some old structures on it that we successfully removed for very, very, very little cost, by the way. And now we are faced with now bringing in some infrastructure to support not only the animal control facility, which is our number one priority, but we also have our new municipal building up there, which will also need to have the same services. And so there were 3 bids submitted. The one that has been recommended was the lowest bid. And I will let Jared kind of go over what the bid represents and what a couple of the options are. Each of the council members have received the plan drawings and the bid. And so you should be familiar with kind of what is going on there. But Jared, I'll let you go ahead and talk on this, please.
All right. As you can see, the plans were. Is it echoing pretty bad on your end?
There's no echo here.
Okay. All right. As you can see, the plans show water being taken from the front of the property, going down to the animal control shelter, which is in the back. SAWS required us to connect to that water line. We do know that there is a line in the backside, but that is not usable. So along with that, during the preparation of these plans, we knew that the municipal building was starting to come in. And so along with that, we put a T in the line to create a stub out for that eventual connection to that building. This is, I guess, very slight increase in costs overall. To do that, we think that it's a great time to do that if you are bringing water to the animal control shelter. The other thing that we did is brought electricity to the animal control shelter, and that's coming in from the backside, the power pole there. We have to string some line out, and I am not an electrical engineer. I had another department work on this, so I'm trying to describe it the best I know how. But essentially, there is going to be a meter on the pole there that is sized for both buildings, and they, while the building was arriving, they went and looked out there and did a little bit of extra work to help connect to that. The building came configured a little bit differently than what they had thought. So there is a little bit of extra items in there that could technically be removed or need to be reconfigured to connect to the municipal building in the future. So that gives us two options. One is we need to, I guess, if we want to just connect to the animal control shelter, I would recommend that we do a change order to adjust some of those items and make it easier to connect to the municipal building in the future. And that would roughly be a reduction of $2,700. We don't have costs from the low bidder or anything like that because the bid is still open and it has not been awarded yet, but we suspect it's going to be around that price. If we want to go ahead and connect the municipal building up fully, our estimated cost is around an additional $22,000. And I just ran the numbers and realized that this is around a 30% increase in the overall cost of the project, which we have a limit of a 25% increase before the bid is, I guess, becomes unfair. So essentially, if we do want to connect everything at once, I would recommend that we just rebid the set. Yeah, other than that, I guess I can open it up for questions.
So Jared, I'd like to ask a question. Can you, in looking at the bid here, there's two components to that. And I think one was related to the electric and one was related to the water. Is that correct?
Correct.
And I don't see those figures in here. Is that on page 5?
I don't know exactly what you're looking at.
I'm looking at the bid form.
So the contractor, or I guess the bids came in. There is a bid tab that they filled out. All of those items deal with the water line, except for one item, which is essentially a lump sum price for the electrical work. And my understanding is that in the electrical world, that's typically how they're bid out. That's how we were provided the item for them to bid on. But that's a lump sum price that includes everything on the electrical plans.
So on that one lump sum for the electrical, that's including a meter that will adequately allow for hookup to the municipal building, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that line has been sized to be able to provide power to both buildings.
And Jared, what is the amount on that piece of it? 43,634.
I believe the MEP portion, that electrical portion, is 65,000 roughly.
Okay, so that's where we're confused.
Item 7.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Electrical at 43,694, 67. You're saying
Yeah,
that?
I'm sorry. I am giving you the wrong number.
Well, it's broken down into two components. So the electrical piece and then the water piece. The entire project, they're bidding the entire project.
Correct.
Great. But on the Because
But I'm not-
the excavation, the 2-inch pipe PVC as well as copper, and that's all water related. And then your meter, all the electrical is 4360.
And I'm not seeing in the pack, that's why I was asking, because in the packet from them, I don't see the bid amount for the water.
That's
On
page 5.
I'm on page 5.
Okay, items 1 through 6 are your water. 1 through 6 is water. So add those up,
Mhm.
that's your water.
Oh,
But the
43
mobilization-
is not
Yeah.
the entire part, got it.
The mobilization cost.
That's where I was like.
That 6816 probably includes mobilization for the electrical as well. So that's probably the only part that's both water and electric.
And so that's what I was trying to get at, is what is the bottom line number on here? I gotta add all these.
For everything,
No,
71,
You don't need to add
427 on the next page.
30 minutes to your next page.
That number, that's what I'm looking for.
Right.
So, Jared, if you would, so if we're looking down the road, then we want to connect the municipal building with what's goes in and what's included in this bid. So we're looking at another 22,000 down the road to get the electrical tool.
Just what, so I think the question is, this includes a stub out only,
Correct.
and then an additional to connect the building, but not finish the building, the inside. It's only to connect to the building.
Right, to each individual unit, those 7
The 7.
modules, and then still the interior electrical connections underneath.
Right.
As well as all our internet, all our combo
Exactly,
lines, all that.
That's all that stuff.
Different note, yeah. So I would think all the right stuff needs to be done before we connect the out.
And so the reason I was looking for this total number here, because this includes the stub out only to the new building. This number looks big, because it is big. If it were the municipal building, it would make more sense, but we happen to be doing the animal control facility first. Regardless, one of those projects or the other was going to incur this cost.
And when you say
stub out, the stub out you're referring to is water. The electrical part includes a meter loop large enough to adequately provide
Yes.
the whole building.
Yes, yes,
So, yes, so you're looking to the future with it, with this
Exactly.
71.4, we're ready to connect
The next
utilities to the
phase.
municipal building
Yes,
at an additional cost, but
but the heavy lifting piece of it happens.
right, we won't
This
have to put
stage.
another water meter in, that's for sure. And
No.
that's a big chunk of it right there. I think the meter fee is,
Well,
gosh,
and
it's
And
excessive.
Jared, and I apologize, Catherine, I did not have my printed notes in that whole email string. It wasn't in my pack for whatever reason. Oh, I need the notes because we had questions. Did each
Okay, I
council
have a
member?
question.
Well, wait. Did you get, in your email, did you get all the, because there was a lot of banter back and forth between Jared and I about a lot of this, where I asked some questions and he answered them. So you haven't seen that yet? Okay. Catherine's gonna print that out.
Yeah, but my question is, for us to get water to the animal control, to bring power to this distribution panel that would also supply the new city hall in time. If we don't run wire or hook up the new building to bring the power to the central station and give power to animal control and give our water to our system, that's the cost I want to know.
That's what this is right here.
71.4.
And that's not even running any lines, any power to the new building?
No, but if the meter loop is large enough, you'll have enough
We're talking
power.
$71,000 to do this, huh?
Yes.
Wow.
But understand, I think, I'm looking at, I saw it,
The meter fee, the assessment
fee.
impact fee, it's like $18,000 or $20,000 out of that sauce gets. So it's not so much, but it's coming
Yeah.
out of that 71. I'm looking for, I know I saw it in
But
here.
we do it once, twice.
Well, and
Right,
that's
exactly.
why I wanted the questions, because I had asked all that about the impact fees from SAWS and CPS. Did they have any additional fees? Does that include the meters? Does the
No,
touch
I
cover?
saw the impact.
Well, I know, but Catherine's got, it's your printed. but Jared, you can answer the question while we're waiting. So,
Yes, I happen to have all those questions in front of me. So the answer to the impact fees is there is an impact fee for both of the components. The water is a little over 7,000, and the electric from CPS is around 2,300.
and those fees are included in this 71,427.58, correct?
Those that is not included. So those are typically paid by the owner. It's not a construction component.
So those fees are over and above the 71,000.
Correct.
Questions?
So just for the benefit of those listening, I'll read through some of the questions. So one of them, first question was, the two attachments only address electric, correct? Does that include meters? That is correct. The contractor will put in the meters. Question two, for the awarded bid, that is electric and water, correct? Does that include meters for SAWS and CPS? What about impact fees? Yes, the answer is yes. CPS does assess an impact fee and a trench protection fee that will be determined when the trench inspector comes to inspect the trench prior to being covered. So it includes the meters, but not the fees, is what I'm hearing. Is that correct, Jared?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. For the awarded bid, the question is, for the awarded bid, that's the same question again. Oh, you're answering again. The awarded bid includes all meters required for both services to be installed. The SAWS impact fee should be $7,123.50, and the CPS impact fee should be $2,234.95. There will be another fee for the CPS inspector to look at the trenches. Jared, do we know what an estimate of that fee may be?
This fee was not provided to me, but it is just a small fee, I believe, to cover the cost for a person to come out there and look at the trench. So,
okay. So the other thing that I had asked Jared to do for us was when we talk about option one and option two. So option one is fully connect the municipal building and animal control buildings with power, provide water to the animal control building with a stub out to the municipal building. The engineer's opinion of cost based on the low bid would be around $93,336.91. And then there's on the engineer's opinion of construction cost change, that would add $21,909 to this bid that we're considering tonight, if we were to fully connect both of them. Option two is to remove any excess electrical items from the project except those needed for the animal control building. Provide water to the animal control building with a stub out to the municipal building. That would decrease this bid that we're considering this evening by only $2,708.67. So those are two options in addition to the bid we're considering this evening. And I asked him to do that because we know ultimately we're going to have another project. Wanted to kind of gauge what the cost would be, if there would be any savings in if we addressed it in any other fashion. Jared, in these engineer opinion of construction costs, this does not include the engineering work, or this would not be the engineering costs. They would not be included in these numbers, correct?
correct. That number does fluctuate a bit depending on how everything is to be bid, or if it's happening soon or later. I do give a rather conservative cost in worst case scenario that I do plan on beating, and that is roughly $20,000 for engineering services, and that would be completely separate projects having to go through a whole public bid process, revamping all of the bid documents, updating the plans. I expect that if we were to do a rebid on doing the whole doing the municipal building and the animal control building right now, that would be significantly less because our contract documents are put together well for that. So there would be minimal changes, and we haven't gotten to the actual construction, observation, administration part yet. So there would be savings that way as well. The other thing I want to mention is if the additional portion connecting the electric from the meter to the municipal building happens in the future, there may be a way to do it where we can just not put it out for public bid, but look for things as it would be under 50,000. Again, I would have to look at the exact way that we're doing it. I know that there are a lot of other things that could be added into a bid in the future.
Thank you, Jared. For the council members, because I don't think everyone was present when we did the bid opening, could you go over, I think we had 3 bids. Could you give us the value of the bids that were presented? We don't necessarily need the names, just the values.
I do not have all 3 of those bids in front of me at the moment.
Well, suffice it to say, this
yeah,
was the lowest.
sorry.
No, that's fine, and I apologize for throwing that at you without advance notice. I don't recall what they were, but this one was by far the lowest bid of the 3. So does anyone have any other questions for Jared?
Did you hear that, Jared?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Is this a contractor you have worked with before?
This is not. We have called the contractors people that they've put in their documents, and we have gotten some positive responses back. I am confident that this contractor can do the work given.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Okay, Jared, apparently we don't have any additional questions for you at this time. You're welcome to stay on the call, but I think we're going to mute you. I think we're going to mute you for now.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Jared.
We've completed the Rossville project and under budget.
Yes, under budget. And there is no expectation. I did clarify that with Jared earlier this afternoon. There is no expectation that that awarded bid for that project will exceed what was awarded. There were no change orders, nothing. It's going to stay where it's at. They still have some work to do. I think we're 90% paid on it, Catherine. Basically, it's the vegetation, the finished stuff that they need to do. And so we haven't paid the final bill, but there's no expectation that it will exceed that.
Okay, assuming that there's no additional charges, what is our surplus on that project?
We set aside 220,000, and the bid was 130. hold on, wait. No, he hasn't. On this- Lost Hills. We budgeted 220,000. And Catherine, do you have that latest invoice?
81,000.
No. That was for that payment 2 application. On there, it had all of the numbers. There's still about 10,000 left, I think, just under 10,000 that's left. But we've spent 133,000 of that. We paid, and this includes the 80 that we just paid. I want to say it was around 140,000, somewhere in there.
Okay, so,
We should have enough funding in there.
so we should have $80,000 surplus there.
Yes,
And that's what I was mentioning in our meeting.
yes.
All right, thank you. I have no more questions.
Does anyone else have any other questions?
Yes, I have a question. Okay, I understand the surplus. I understand the pandemic we're in financially. Is this feasible for us to go forward with this as much as we need animal control? That's still a lot of money. So how does that to be seen as feasible when we're in a tight budget?
Well, we are on a tight budget. We will still continue to have things that need to be done.
Well,
We
that's
just have to-
absolutely, but $100,000 is a lot of money.
Okay. And what would be your recommendation? What are you recommending?
I have no idea. I'm just concerned about $100,000.
Well, it's not $100,000. It's $71,000.
But add the 20,000 for
That's going to be next year. Remember when we talked about the municipal building, that came in as a future project. And that's not what we're addressing here. What we're addressing here now is to finish the project for animal control.
Yes.
But the bonus, if you will, if you want to call it a bonus, is that some of the cost that we would have incurred if we had started with the municipal building, that's built by just the nature of it. We're already planning ahead by sizing what we need for future growth.
I think what we also need to look at is, when we talk about animal control, that 80,000 is actually supporting animal control. It's what it's doing. We can't put animals in there legally right now.
Well, that has to be addressed.
So in order for Chris to pick up an animal, I heard he was answering a call about a dog bite. Well, if he picks up that dog tonight, what does he do with it?
Right.
Yeah, he can't do anything with it, and so we're putting the public in danger. We have to start utilizing that facility. We've spent money at this point, so it's just it's life.
We have to get to the end.
Well, we have to do it, and the way we've been doing it is costing us
Too much.
It's costing us too much money because we're having to use other resources. The intent is to be able to handle this in-house. We will have the one-time cost to get the program set up. We'll still have some vet bills that we're going to have to do because some animals have to go to the vet. I mean,
Yeah.
those things are going to happen. But the boarding, that's what's killing us. That's where a lot of our money is going, is to boarding these animals off-site. Then it takes time for Chris to have to drive over there. He's got to take them over there. He's
Yeah.
got to go back and pick them up.
And I think we talk about, yeah, it's a lot of money, but everyone needs to understand, the public needs to understand that to fix these issues, these problems, it costs money.
It does cost money.
To do these things.
Right.
We can't not do it because it costs money. We have to, and we're looking at it and doing it the cheapest bid. We did go out for competitive bids and got the lowest bid. The other part of it, $10,000 for CPS and solids, that hurts, and that's, gosh, I mean,
But we knew that was,
Right.
we've known that was going to happen. I just did not know whether or not it was included in this bid, which
They
is
haven't
why I
done
have
this a
those
year
questions.
ago, that's 7,000 to saw, so it's probably half of that. They've increased that.
Oh, yes, yes.
Gosh,
Right.
I paid $900 when I did mine
Yeah.
20 years
And
ago.
we're looking at, this is a one-time cap.
Right.
It is.
Mhm.
You know, it's a big investment, but we have to do it.
Well, it
And,
is.
and the way it's gonna be done is that it's gonna be ready to hook up to the municipal building. It's not, we're gonna have to run another water meter. We're not gonna pay to do that trenching all over again. The pipe's gonna, it's adequate for the building, a 2-inch pipe. Well, you can't get that in a residential, building, so.
And we have the funds surplus from another project.
Right, it's not like we're taking money from,
Right.
Uh,
Yes.
It's just scary numbers.
Well, yeah, I mean, if it was, you know, any one of us at our house, yeah, we're talking something different, but
well,
$44,000 to put in a walk-in tub because the electrical.
all right.
yeah, they're all scary numbers. We're all taxpayers too. But, you know, I just,
Of some child being attacked, by the animals out here. And, you know, we tried dealing with other control facilities.
that's failed. I see no choice but to move forward.
I have a question on Article 6, time of completion. 6.01 refers to paragraph 1506 of the general conditions, but I don't see that anywhere. What is the,
Hold on, Jared, could you unmute Jared, please?
Hello.
it's on page 8,
From at this section here on completion.
Article 6, time of completion, 6.01. Says Bear agrees that the work will be substantially complete and will be completed and ready for final payment in accordance with paragraph 15.06 of the general conditions on or before dates or within the number of calendar days indicated in the agreement. However, I never found that.
And Jared, did you hear her question?
I did hear her question. I cannot remember off the top of my head what we had put for this one. It was a very short timeline. The work is not something that takes a long time to do. But if I guess a number, I'm going to get it wrong. And I don't have all those documents in front of me. I'm sorry.
All the permitting, everything that's needed through CPS and SAWS has been done already, is that correct?
The
No.
initial permits have gone into both facilities. The contractor has a small portion that they need to complete, but we don't expect that to really take any time. All the plans are more or less vetted by both companies, and so it can move forward.
That's good, because I know that was part of the reason this has taken so long, is trying to work through their systems. And so is this time of completion language, is this fairly standard, Jared?
That is correct. The contract documents that we use are the standard documents that are used all over the U.S. They're there's a community of engineers and contractors that come together and refresh these documents. But essentially that number that will be in there that I don't know is, I guess, our fair estimate of what this project is going to take to complete.
The reason I brought that up, Alderman Walker, was that for the Lost Hills Low Water Project, That date was the end of June. They're done. So it was a generous date. But from what I understand, the contractor is ready to work on this if we're ready to award the bid. And the vetting, like he said, through the CPS and SOLS is already done. The substantial portion of it, the contractor still has something they need to do.
Questions?
Any other questions? Okay, I'm going to take that as a no. Thank you, Jared. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so for item 6C, would anybody like to make a motion on that one?
Sure.
Y'all are a wordy bunch tonight.
I would make a motion that we award the contract to connecting utilities to animal control facility for the plan in this bid. In the amount of $71,427.58.
Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Fillinger to award or approve the award for the bid for the animal control facility in the amount of $71,427.58. We have a second by Alderman Rapino. Is there any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Would you unmute Mr. Mott, please?
Hello. For some reason, the microphone is muted on your end now. I can't hear anything. There you go. Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Would you reach out to Catherine in the morning and line out what the next steps are? And let's get this project started moving forward.
Absolutely. I'd be happy to.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mayor, in the motion, Mayor, I heard the award price, but I didn't hear who the contract was awarded to. Did y'all state that in your motion?
We did not.
Okay.
Do we need another motion or we need to bring that one back? Can we amend it?
Yeah, I would include an amendment and then a vote on the amendment and then
Okay.
a revote on the motion.
Perfect. Okay. And it is force.
This is a force asset management.
Force asset management. Here they are, right here.
What page is that on?
I'm like 4 pages in.
Or actually, since it was already voted on, probably a reconsideration of the motion needs to be voted on by council first. And then just restate the motion to include the contractor's name and the award price.
Okay, Charles, you're up.
Okay, I move that we reconsider the question of awarding the contract.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Fillinger to reconsider the previous motion for awarding the contract. We have a second by Alderman Rapino. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. And so now,
Okay.
you're up again.
I would like to move that we award the contract to Force Asset Management LLC in the amount of $71,427.58. for the animal control facility utilities.
Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Fillinger to award the bid for the animal control facility to Force Asset Management LLC for an amount of $71,427.58. We have a second by Alderman Rapino. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Ortiz, for keeping us on the straight and narrow here. Okay, we're going to move on to item 6D, discuss and possible action on ordinance 2020-161 to repeal ordinance 2016-40. And what we are doing here with this, and Catherine, I don't have everything. Well, maybe I do. Hold on a minute. I got more paper. There's D. Here it is, right here. Okay. We're back on track. So we are going to repeal an ordinance that was put in place back in 2016, which was an interlocal agreement with the city of San Antonio and Bexar County, which appointed a Dr. Vincent Nathan, PhD, MPA, Dr. Nathan, as our local health authority, pursuant to Chapter 121 of the Health and Safety Code effective March 10th, 2016. This was passed on and approved on May 14th of, this one. Whereas Dr. Nathan's term has expired and Bexar County and the city of San Antonio have appointed Dr. Nathan's successor to serve as health authority, which the city council of the city has appointed by resolution 2020-115. It says, now therefore be it ordained by the city council of the city of Sandy Oaks, section 1, repeal of ordinance number 2016-40. Ordinance number 2016-40 is hereby repealed. Section 2, the effective date. This ordinance shall take effect immediately immediately from and after the passage and approval of this ordinance. The reason for this is for the next item on the agenda. So we would be naming a different doctor for the health authority.
I move to approve ordinance number 2020-161, ordinance of City Council of City of Sandy Oaks repealing ordinance number 2016-40.
Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Tremblay to approve ordinance 2021-161 as presented, and a second by Alderman Rapino. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Catherine, you'll have the original for me to sign? Okay. Item 6E, discuss and possible action on resolution 2020-115, approving an interlocal agreement between Bexar County, the city of San Antonio, and the city of Sandy Oaks for designation of a health authority. So Dr. Wu is the medical director. This is just reinstating the new interlocal agreement. The county has asked us to do this. San Antonio Metro Health. This is something that we've been discussing with the suburban cities on the suburban cities meetings, and this is just designating San Antonio Metro Health to be an interlocal agreement for San Antonio Metro Health to be our health authority, and specifying Dr. Wu as the health authority to administer state and local laws relating to public health within the jurisdiction of the district.
All right, move to approve resolution number 2020-115, resolution of City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks, Texas, approving the interlocal agreement for designation of the health authority between Perry County, the City of San Antonio, City of Sandy Oaks, authorizing the mayor to execute such agreement on behalf of the city and providing an effective date.
And Cassandra, I'm looking on here for the effective date is the
Effective date is
passed and
14
approved,
days.
yeah. Okay, so we have a motion by Alderman Tremblay and a second by Alderman Walker to approve resolution number 2020-115 as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Let's move on to item.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to request a 10-minute recess.
We certainly may do that. We will take a 10-minute break, and it is 8:39 p.m. We will resume in 10 minutes. Okay, it is 8:49 and we are returning from recess, and we will continue with item 6F. Discuss and possible action on ordinance 2020-162, providing for procedures for adoption and amendments to the comprehensive master plan and other matters related hereto. So the caption on this one reads, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks, Texas, providing for procedures for adoption and amendments to the comprehensive master plan and other matters related hereto. So there's a meeting next week with planning and zoning for them to review the master plan, and they'll make a recommendation for ultimate approval of that after we have held, they'll make a recommendation, we will hold a public hearing. And then once that public hearing is conducted, the council will then consider final approval for the master plan. So that's what this is. This particular ordinance is related to that approval and any future amendments. There is an item in here. So down here under section 2, where it says procedures for adoption of the comprehensive master plan. Prior to the adoption of the plan by the City Council, the Commission shall hold a public hearing, review the proposed plan, and submit a recommendation to the City Council on the adoption of the plan. A copy of the plan with the recommendations of the Commission or any part therefore or thereof shall be forwarded to the City Council, which may adopt the plan in whole or in parts and may adopt any amendments thereto for after at least one public hearing on the proposed plan. If such plan or part thereof is rejected by the City Council, the Council may request the Commission modify such plan or part thereof and again forward it to the City Council for consideration. Upon adoption, the plan shall be the comprehensive master plan for the city and serve such purposes as stated in the plan documents. Under section 4, there is a filing fee that we will need to determine in the motion. And section 4 reads application for plan amendment. Application A says application by an interested person. Any person having a proprietary interest in any property within the corporate limits of the city requesting a change or amendment to the plan shall file an application applying for such change or amendment with the city administrator. We probably should address that as well, or designee. Cassandra, is Cassandra muted on that?
I think,
I just unmuted myself.
There you are.
I think we have to move to any motion to adopt the ordinance and then we need to discuss the filing fee.
Well, I was thinking that we also need to adjust section 4, item A, where it says the application is filed with the city administrator.
Well, that's an amendment, and we have to have a motion.
Okay. So you are proposing an initial, that's what I was thinking, we make the changes and then.
Move to approve with the changes.
And Mayor, this also falls into the 2 reading category of an ordinance. The ordinance is one of the exceptions in the ordinance is an ordinance that would comply with state law, but this isn't really necessary to comply with state law. State law gives the option to adopt procedures, but it's not a requirement. So unless waived by council, this would fall into the 2 reading procedures.
Okay, perfect. So that's another motion in itself.
So can we make amendments so that it's put out correctly for the first reading?
That's what I thought we were going to do.
So if we're going to change that to the changes filed with.
Procedurally, we have to have a motion.
Right, and I'm saying with.
To address the ordinance, we move the ordinance.
And then amend.
And then amend.
I think in the past we've
made changes and then approved it.
Cassandra, what is the proper process for this? Do we approve the ordinance first and then amend it? Or do we make the recommendations for the amendment first and then approve the changes and the overall ordinance?
In the past, I think y'all have made the amendments first within the ordinance and then adopted the entire ordinance with amendments, making each amendment separately, unless there is a general consensus within the council amongst several amendments. But yeah, in the past, y'all have generally made the amendments before adoption of the whole ordinance.
Okay.
Because we can't approve it without doing the first reading. And so if we put it out as a first, we can't approve it as it is.
That's what I was thinking. We make the amendments to prepare the document for the first reading. Or I'm sorry, for the second reading. However, whatever you want to do, Charles.
I will not. I will not argue the point. I'm just saying.
Okay. We can do it that way. We'll do it that way. Okay. So the very first thing I think we need to address is that section 4, item A, on who receives the application.
I think being that the city clerk is here, that they should be filed with the city clerk. And the city clerk forwards them to the mayor and the council.
Okay.
City clerk, so strike administrator and insert clerk.
Okay, you want to make a motion on that?
I thought we were going to do it all of it.
Oh, you want to do all of it or each one? Okay. All right, then under item 4 is a filing fee. Does anyone have, Lou, do you have any idea what a standard filing fee is? Or Cassandra, do you have any knowledge on other cities, what they have been charging for that?
So it would depend on the requirements of what the city, the type of notice the city wants to give. So for an example, there's a publication requirement proposed in the ordinance. So Catherine may have the best knowledge of what it costs for that publication in the newspaper. If there's one for planning and there's one for council, so it'd be 2 separate publications. So consider that. Some cities include signage on the property if that's something that wants to be included in the ordinance, the cost of that. So it really does range from just the publication fee and hours that would be put into the work of the plan amendment, and the size of the property too sometimes is taken into consideration. So I think the city of San Antonio's, it's about $500, $750 depending on the size of the property. For Sandy Oaks, it'd probably be significantly less, but several $100s.
Is there any,
I guess we're talking about individuals possibly wanting to change the zoning of their property from a residential to a commercial,
Right.
or a commercial
Or
to a
vice
resident,
versa.
vice versa. So there would need to be some type of input from the city, maybe an inspection of some type.
well, that was my question, was an inspection fee.
And again, if we have to notify surrounding properties within
Well, that's
so
the-
many feet,
that's
so
the
that's the
publication.
signage, actual, maybe
And
the
the-
signage that comes out on the side of the road. So, yeah, and the publication in the papers, all that needs to be included.
And Cassandra, if I'm not mistaken, the notification also includes a mail out, a direct mail to anyone within 200 feet of that specific property. Is that correct?
That is only required for zoning. It's not required for a plan amendment, but because plan amendments are often triggered by zoning changes or requested zoning changes, some cities bundle that and send letters or mail outs to people within 200 feet for both plan amendments and zoning change amendments. So if the city does want to do mail outs, that would be another consideration in the cost of printing the paper the paper required for that and the postage, and the time taken to determine who those people within the 200 feet are.
So there would be 2 publications required, one from planning and zoning and one from the city on this?
In the proposed ordinance. So for a plan amendment, the Planning and Zoning Commission you do not need to publish in the paper for a plan amendment, but you do need to publish for a zoning change. The publication is just included in this proposed ordinance because a lot of cities seem to do that, just to take that extra, to give the public that extra notice that there will be a plan change. But when the council does consider zoning change procedures, there is a publication. And you can use the same publication for a plan amendment and a zoning change if it runs the same type of, or the same property.
And what is the typical fee that we pay to Wilson County News for publication?
Probably about $79. Yeah, I've seen like 60. Look at it, but a lot of this is still.
If we do a public hearing, we'll include the cost to marshal that need to be on the site as well. So a couple $100, I would think. $250.
We should cover everything. Well, I mean, if you want to do signs, you have to do it in some cases.
But
We have a second reading down there.
we're looking at 2 different things.
Just basically be zoning, not so
Okay.
much.
This is an application for a plan amendment.
Yes.
Okay. They're gonna have to, if they request a zoning change, then we're gonna have planning and zoning be, actually would establish, set it outside. And, that would be a separate, we're looking at 2 different things.
Well, the zoning commission would be the responsible party for doing the information to the people in the area that falls on the city, not the zoning commission. So it's the city would incur the cost. And that's That's all. This is just trying to recoup some of those costs. And if it's just a plan, then it's not so much fees involved. You're not doing inspections. You don't have to do the public information thing for a plan change in master plan. It's just a plan, part of the plan. But if it's zone, then it's where the notification part comes in, the legal part of that. But those costs would be, and the actual notification part is the city's responsibility. It would be our responsibility. Not so much the zoning. The commission wouldn't be responsible for going out and putting signs. Their function is to look at the zoning request and make their recommendations as to whether it's feasible or not, and make their recommendation to the council.
So are you thinking that we need two separate fees? We need to have two on here, one if it's a plan change, one if it's a zoning change?
I don't see a cost involved. It's just a plan change. It would just be an approval by the city. There wouldn't be any cost involved for a plan change.
Zoning would change the plan, basically.
Right. Well, a plan change would change the plan. It would just be a matter of rewriting the plan or not a cost involved per se, just an amendment. Exactly.
Looking at the pro, I'm sure you don't want everybody submitting plan changes, to do it, if we got a cost, it might limit some of that.
It could be a control point. I see where a person having a proprietary interest in any proprietary property within the corporate limits of the city requesting a change or amendment to the plan. I'm thinking we're not talking about zoning here. We're talking about change this plan.
Right.
And if they want to change the plan, then the requirements are a clear statement or description request to change or amendment, a drawing and scale of the city maps for general location of subject property. If we change this plan, then we're going to have a public meeting. We're going to have to publish a public meeting. So, and I'm just saying, that's not a P&Z change.
No, it's not.
A change to this plan. And I would recommend that, because when we do this, they're submitted into the city clerk. The city clerk's going to have to handle that plan, generate, letters and copies to all of us.
Notices for
And notices that we're going to change the plan. We're going to have the public meeting. I'm thinking $250 or that range is what we need for a filing fee on amending the plan. $250.
So, would you like to, we're not, okay, we're doing everything at once, sorry. Not yet. Okay. The other item that we need to look at is in section 5, item A. It also references city administrator. So we should strike that and make it clerk. And the only other consideration here is whether or not there's a motion to waive a second reading on this.
I'm never in favor of waiving a second reading unless there's a pressing,
I agree.
pressing issue.
No, we will. We're not waiving the second reading. Yes. Okay. Any other changes that you want to recommend for this? Okay. Would someone like to make a motion?
Or just make a motion to approve the changes.
The changes to
The
the
amendments.
proposed, right? Cassandra, do we need to have a motion on this, or do we just make these?
Since there are amendments made to the motion, or to the ordinance, I would make it as you would before the ordinance is adopted, to make the amended changes, and that way the final presentation of the ordinance can be brought to council for the second reading. Oh, I just have a question for council. Y'all were discussing zoning, and as Alderman Fillinger said, this is just regarding the plan amendment. If council wants zoning change procedures included in this, so it's one ordinance, I can also include those in this ordinance for the second reading, or that could be a separate ordinance. It could be a separate zoning ordinance taken up at another time.
So really, we're just going to approve the changes to this as presented. And then we bring it back and make and include in the motion. Okay. Here, you want to sit over here? Okay, so.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we adopt ordinance number 2020-162, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks, Texas, providing for procedures for adoption and amendments to the comprehensive master plan and to other matters related therein, as amended by replacing each instance of city administrator with city clerk and adopting a filing fee of $250 for an application for plan amendment. And this ordinance being coming back for a second reading with no waiver for the second reading.
Okay. Okay, Alderman Fillinger, it sounded like you were adopting the ordinance, because that's how you stated your motion, to adopt the ordinance. So instead of adopting the ordinance, just adopt the amendments to the ordinance and bring forward or bring back to second reading. Does that, I didn't know if that may have been just what I heard. I just want to be clear what the motion was.
You can approve the ordinance. You can approve amendments to the proposed ordinance. We'll bring it back next.
Okay.
You want to do it again?
Sure, we'll do it again. I move we approve the amendments to the City of Sandy Oaks ordinance number 2020-162. Proposed ordinance number 2020-162, an ordinance of the City of Sandy Oaks, City, Texas, providing for procedures for adoption and amendments to the comprehensive master plan and other matters related thereto. And we bring it back for a second reading at our next meeting.
Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Fillinger to approve the amendments to the proposed ordinance 2020-162 with the changes that were suggested. And a second by Alderman Rapino, and then bring this back for a second reading at our next regular meeting. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Okay, that motion carries.
Alderman Bellinger needs to withdraw his first position and Alderman Rapino needs to agree to, oh. Okay, never mind.
Okay, are you done?
Okay.
Now I gotta find my new agenda again. Okay. Let's move on to item 8. Let's talk about animals. Presentation of the monthly report by ACO Chris Maldonado with possible discussion and/or action. You are up, Mr. Maldonado.
Why don't you take CJ's microphone?
You want me to speak louder? I can speak louder.
I want to use my phone to speak louder, but step back on.
Well, test.
Louder, but you
Is
know,
it not working over there?
it's working.
Okay, all right. So, as we all are aware of the pandemic that's going on, we've slowed down on picking up just random dogs, just strays. We've concerned ourselves with vicious dogs. That's why you see a lower number than every other month. For the month of April, we only picked up 4 animals. That's it. Most of those were just, things we had to pick up, pretty much a necessity to pick up. The only thing that hasn't reduced is the amount of calls, the amount of illegal animals, things like that. Those never stop. As I witnessed today, they continue. So, as you can see, there's a lot of enforcement for illegal animals out there. I'm trying to crack down on as much illegal animals as I see, but hopefully more people call those in, because sometimes it's hard for me to see illegal animals in the backyard or something like that. So I do appreciate people that call in all these illegal animals out there. It's really helpful. We haven't had too much of an expenditure for animals in the last few months, just because of what's going on and everything like that. We've taken less animals in, so our expenditures for April have reduced significantly, and pretty much not there as we see as the previous months. So, any questions?
There are a lot of farm animals in there.
Yeah, I read through your comments. I'm concerned for your safety. So the question for you is that, and I know you're dealing with the folks that have animals they shouldn't have. I noticed one that owner told you he wasn't getting rid of his animals, blah, blah. Are you taking Marshall with you to deal with these folks on your return visits? I see you giving them warnings. You get a lot of warnings. You are citing some people, but I just, for your safety, I think you either you have your partner with you, some backup, or ask the marshal to go with you if you've got to revisit these folks.
I wish I had more equipment with me.
Other than a side shooter, a side arm.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking
I
about.
try to incorporate the marshal as much as I can, if he's available. If he's not available, then I just handle it myself.
Yeah, be careful.
But yeah, you're right. There's a lot of people out there that are really upset. But their beloved animals have to go, so they get a little bit upset. It's understandable. I try to calm them down as much as I can, but ultimately, the animal has to go, and it's a family member at the end of the day. So they're not too happy with me, but my job. Right, reminding them.
And the real concern is that his safety, like they were saying. He came on dinner today, we had some questions, and he said, man, our situations are not very good. So, well, maybe we should give you a sign on it. My comment.
That was one of my thoughts as well, is I know he carries his baton
Always.
always. He's getting good at using it too.
Don't try me.
Maybe we get you a stun gun at least. You
Well,
know,
that's what I was
something.
thinking, something.
Some kind of added equipment. We need to address it.
The other thing, he may need some kind of radio.
That was
Or.
requested already, but I'm not sure if we have, monies for that. And to tie into how I get contact from with radios. I know the Marshall already has his own, so having radios just for me and Mark. We need some to go.
We purchased radios and sent them back because you can't even talk from here because of the trees and stuff.
Yeah,
They're supposed to be 2 miles, well, that's on a stretch.
right.
Well, and I know the radios that the Marshall has, their stuff is
Those are-
pretty pricey.
Yeah, but those are keyed in with Bear County, so
Right.
that's not an
We'd have to
option.
get on different
Another
channels somehow.
situation that I wanted to bring up too, and we've had this conversation this month, that perhaps body cam might be a situation. to
Did we
protect
not talk about that and approve that?
We do not know.
We did not.
you. No, and my option was, okay, we bought the lower one for the marshal's office, the lower quality one. Maybe we give them some better quality ones, pass these down to animal control.
Oh, theirs are excellent.
Well, I don't know that.
Well,
Yeah.
it is something that we as a council need to consider, need to
Yeah.
discuss, probably budget for
If I can
some
get,
for you.
y'all want, I can get ideas for y'all.
Absolutely. You need to let us know what it is you need. And, you know the drill. Yeah.
So, we're concerned, I'm concerned, and I just
appreciate
reading the report, I'm like, if that was me going out there and I gotta deal with this guy who's telling me this stuff, I'd be, a little leery of, he's gonna get defensive and there's no telling, his state of mind.
There are situations that are not.
Definitely, so, anyway,
Yeah, we don't want you putting yourself in any dangerous situation. If you sense that the conversation is not going well, remove yourself from there.
I've
Talk
had
to the
some
marshal.
de-escalation training before, so I
Good.
kind of, I already know.
Okay.
Body language is a big thing for me, so I step
Good.
away if something's wrong. Or if I
Yeah.
feel-
And then bring the marshal back with you if you need to. Okay. Okay, we'll present some ideas and some pricing. Get that to us. We'll put it on a future agenda for you then.
Will do. Thank you very much.
Okay. Ms. Ortiz, do we need to take an action on his report?
No, you don't.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Maldonado. Don't leave yet, because you're going to represent Public Works as well.
Then we'll do you, man.
Okay, item 9A, Public Works, discussing a possible action on the purchase of road safety signs, and that is this part. So, Chris, I'll let you talk about what we're looking at and the need for that.
So the road safety signs you're looking at right now are, in my opinion, essential for us to start mowing the right of ways. You see them all the time when Bear County mows the right of ways. You necessarily need those because if I know that they're mowing up ahead, I'm gonna get on the other side of the road. I ain't gonna stay on the same side. It's also a liability thing. So if someone gets hit by a rock or something, they can say, the signs went up. And I would say that the signs were up, so we were warned. So that's just the reasoning behind being one after that. And also, we present the city with well, we cut the right of ways, it's concerned.
So you're looking for 2 of each, and that would
cover
both sides.
Oncoming traffic.
Okay, approaching and, okay. And so I see 2 different ones here. Is it just the size of the sign? This one's 48 by 10, this one's 36 by 30. Oh, wait, roadwork. They're both 48 by 10.
There are 2 different quotes from different companies. Websites.
Oh, road traffic signs and my safety sign.
Vulcan is the last one. I had gotten that quote maybe 2 months behind. So I did a little bit of overpricing on that one, which is okay. You can always just look at a single one.
So the one from Vulcan says that it is a non-reflective. Are the others reflective? I can't tell from looking on here if they're reflective or not. Well, the one from My Safety Sign says reflect site.
Well, the good thing about this is we won't be mowing at night, so. there's no
Hey, but
need for reflective.
it could be
And I don't
early.
know the rain even for the fall.
No.
Okay. And so based on the three that you have here, these prices down here are the cost with shipping, correct? What says regular ground,
Yeah, the first one has that quote with the shipping, yeah.
Yeah.
okay. And there is no shipping on
Second,
My Safety.
Vulcan's not in the conversation.
Yeah, that's kind of pricey. Did you have a preference based on what you've learned about the different companies?
Not necessarily. All my concern is just getting signs.
Okay,
It hurts a lot.
We have purchased a lot from road traffic signs. They're not a bad company. My Safety Sign is also, they're pretty much the same thing, but just different prices.
okay. So on road safety or road traffic signs, if you went regular ground, we could get this order for just under $600. If we do a 2-day, it's $662. And then let's say $700 if we went with My Safety Sign, and Vulcan is $1,100 plus.
I think you said you had texted that quote a couple months ago.
I did, so there's a little bit of not an error, but there's more. The quantity, if you look at the quantity, it's 2 and 4. The 4 were 4 different signs,
Yeah.
not just mowing, but men and work up ahead. So, but it tells you each unit price right there on the side.
Right.
Just take away 2 from.
That's $270 here. And that would be, instead of $960, we're looking at $690. And they're showing freight of $145. Let's say it's $100. So you're still at $790. Still probably the higher. Okay. Do you need them, if you went regular ground, how many days is that? 5 days?
5 to 8 business.
5 days, that. you can live
Oh,
with
it
that.
says right there. You can live with that? Okay.
It's our city, so if anyone wants to.
Okay. Anyone like to make a motion, or are there additional questions?
I would like to make a motion that we accept the bid from Road Traffic Signs on the road work ahead, 2 of those stand. We have the 2 signs. Is this going to include the signs and the stands?
Everywhere you go, they're sold separately, no matter where you go. So the road work ahead, that's not, you don't have to worry about that. It's just the stand. You see the stand right there. And the mowing ahead is like the actual sign.
I'll make a motion, we accept the bid from them. Coming right around for not to exceed $600.
Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Yelton to approve the quote that's provided for road traffic signs for the sign stands and the mowing ahead signs for a price not to exceed $600. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Okay, moving on to item 10, Parks and Recreation. Item A, 10A, discuss and or possible action on the cost to paint the city park teeter totter and swing set. Perfect.
We can save 200.
While you're waiting on your signs to come in.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll move on to item 10B, discuss and or possible action on the purchase of 7 city park rule signs. This is brought by Alderman Rapino and Alderman Fillinger.
So we got quotes and like two different signs. One says no alcohol, beverages, getting lifestyle in the park, vehicle body space. And the other one says emergency and authorized vehicle only. We're going to put them on the offer. Good point that people usually do into the park. So it's clear if you're there, just be a and I have 3 quotes here. I don't know if these are technically the low bid is 227.79 from road traffic signs or no alcoholic beverages, etc. signs, and 3 of the emergency and authorized vehicles only signs. The other 2 quotes are significantly higher. And like I said, I don't know if they have different costs. I would expect that the one that we use we got for the mowing the head and over signs might take the time to have different prices. So I wonder if it's
No, it does. Well, it does here at the bottom. It had
My safety sign.
the ground was $35.64. The certificate by ground, which is what we decided. And there could be an advantage to ordering additional signs through the same company.
Yeah, right. It's the same company, so I was just wondering if it might not be the same. Okay, so since we don't have, we haven't determined whether they have the shipping cost or not. I don't want to make a motion then to get any of them until we determine that.
Well,
I would like to move that we purchase these signs from roadtrafficsigns.com and not exceed $275.
I think you can do that. I agree. Well, the reason is you're ordering from them for these, and it's identifying the regular ground for these signs only $35. And so they might be able to combine it in a single order.
You bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, we can go.
So who wants to make a motion?
I'll make the motion that we purchase the signs at a cost of no more than $275 from Road Traffic Signs
com
Okay,
for the rules and 3 of the emergency and authorized vehicles.
okay, we have a motion by Alderman Fillinger to approve the purchase of the signs on the quote for the park or from road traffic signs not to exceed $275. All in favor say aye. Opposed? The motion carries. Last order of business is item 11. We will adjourn this meeting at 9:33 p.m. Thank you, everybody.
Sorry, we have not had one of these meetings in a while.
Good night, y'all.